You just checked your phone. You put it down. And within 60 seconds, you picked it up again. You didn't get a notification. Nothing changed. You just reached for it anyway, almost without thinking. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you called yourself addicted. But the real answer to why you can't stop checking your phone is far stranger than addiction. And it started long before smartphones existed. Your brain was never designed for a world where information stays still. For 200,000 years, your ancestors lived in a world where missing a signal could kill you. A rustle in the grass. A change in the sky. A shift in the behavior of the animals nearby. Every piece of new information had survival value. Your brain evolved to constantly scan the environment for updates. Not because you were anxious. Because the ones who didn't scan didn't survive long enough to become your ancestors. That scanning system is still running inside you right now. Every single second of every day. And your phone just happens to be the most perfectly engineered object in human history to hijack it. Here is the mechanism. A neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz spent years studying how the brain responds to rewards. What he discovered, now called the Schultz dopamine prediction error, changed how scientists understand motivation. Your brain does not release dopamine when you get a reward. It releases dopamine in anticipation of a possible reward. The uncertainty is the trigger, not the result. Your ancestors' brains released dopamine when they approached a fruit tree, not when they ate the fruit. The anticipation of finding food drove behavior. Finding nothing didn't destroy the system. It just recalibrated and sent them scanning again. Your phone runs on exactly the same circuit. Every time you pick it up, your brain doesn't know what it will find. Maybe something important. Maybe nothing. That uncertainty is not frustrating to your dopamine system. It is precisely what your dopamine system was designed to chase. The psychologist B.F. Skinner demonstrated this decades before smartphones existed. In his experiments on what he called variable ratio reinforcement, he showed that behavior linked to unpredictable rewards becomes almost impossible to stop. Not occasional rewards. Not consistent rewards. Unpredictable ones. A slot machine pays out on a variable schedule. So does your inbox. So does your social feed. Sometimes you check and there is something meaningful. Most of the time there isn't. But the possibility keeps the system running. You are not weak for checking your phone. You are running 200,000-year-old survival software on a device that was engineered by teams of people whose job was to make you unable to put it down. Now here is the part nobody tells you. The scanning urge itself is not the problem. Your ancestors needed it. In the right environment, it kept them alive, fed, and socially connected. The problem is that your environment changed faster than your biology could follow. A researcher named Gloria Mark at the University of California, Irvine spent years measuring how long people can focus on a single task before their attention shifts. In 2004, the average was 2.5 minutes. By 2012, it was 75 seconds. By her most recent measurements, it had dropped to around 47 seconds. Not because humans got weaker. Because the environment got better at triggering the ancient scanning system on a timescale the brain was never built to resist. Your ancestors scanned for threats and signals maybe dozens of times a day. You carry a device that offers thousands of potential signals every hour. The system hasn't broken down. It's just running at a frequency it was never designed for. So what do you do with this? The first thing is to stop calling yourself addicted. The word addiction implies a malfunction. What is actually happening is a function. Your brain is doing exactly what it was shaped to do for 200,000 years. It is scanning for signals in the most signal-rich environment that has ever existed. That is not a failure. That is your ancient hardware meeting a modern world it was never designed for. The second thing is to understand that distance is the only real solution your brain responds to. Willpower does not override a 200,000-year-old scanning loop. Distance does. The research consistently shows that the single most effective way to reduce phone use is to physically separate yourself from the device. Not silence it. Not turn it face down. Remove it from the room entirely. Because your brain cannot scan for a reward it cannot physically reach. Your ancestors could not turn off the rustling grass. But they could move away from it. And there is one more thing worth understanding. The people who designed the apps on your phone knew about Schultz's research. They knew about variable ratio reinforcement. The notification systems, the infinite scroll, the red badge numbers on icons, none of these are accidental design choices. They are deliberate applications of the same neuroscience that explains why your ancestors couldn't ignore movement in the dark. The engineers who built these systems were not trying to entertain you. They were trying to make your ancient scanning loop impossible to close. That is not a conspiracy. It is just business meeting biology. And knowing it changes something. Because once you understand that your phone was engineered specifically to exploit a 200,000-year-old survival mechanism, the shame disappears. You are not failing at self-control. You are a human being with a Paleolithic brain living inside a world that was deliberately built to keep that brain permanently activated. Every person who has ever felt unable to put their phone down is not weak. They are simply using equipment that was never designed for this environment. Your brain is not broken. It is extraordinarily well designed for a world that no longer exists. Tonight, when you reach for your phone for no reason you can name, you will know what is actually happening. Your 200,000-year-old brain is doing its job. It is scanning. It is searching. It is running a survival program that kept your entire ancestral line alive long enough to produce you. The phone didn't create that urge. It just gave the oldest system in your brain the perfect thing to hunt.